Hi, everybody. March is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, and we here at the Hey Poopy podcast are doing a special fun thing.
Yes, we are here to help fight colorectal cancer with butt prints. You can see it all over our social media. We have some of our past guests and Dave and I making beautiful art with our tukuses, and we are auctioning off this art at heypoopypodcast.com. All the proceeds will go towards fighting colorectal cancer.
Yes, you can actually own my butt, Ellen's butt, or maybe even Ryan Keeley's butt, hanging on your wall, hanging in your office. I don't know.
And wait till you see these adorable videos all month long for March for colorectal cancer awareness. Hey everybody, it's the Hey Poopy podcast. What that booty do, from poop to pleasure to health. Hosted by me, Ellen.
And me, Dave, two curious people removing the stigma from your stinker. And why are we doing this? Because we love laughing, learning all things about butts and helping them be the best they can be. And on this week's episode, we have the one and only Mr. Toilet himself, Jack Sim.
I was beyond starstruck to interview and meet this incredible person who started the World Toilet Organization, started the World Toilet Day on November 19th, is the subject of the fantastic documentary Mr. Toilet. Mr. Toilet himself, Jack Sims, was such a delight and such a plethora of knowledge. He's the best.
Yeah, he was great. He was completely just one of those guys that's a giver. He's just out there doing the work that needs to get done around the world. It's a global experience, and he just had so much information to bestow upon us and you. So you can hear clips like this.
And then ever since, the subject has grown very large, and 13 years later, our founding day, 19th of November, became adopted by the United Nations, all 193 countries. They call our founding day the UN World Toilet Day.
Yeah.
World Toilet Day, by telling stories over 13 years. And I think it is a very, very gratifying journey to be able to take a subject that is neglected and then put it on the world stage by telling story through the media, just like what we're doing now, and then to get officialdom. In the beginning, people thought I was just a clown, right? They thought this guy is just trying to get famous or something like that, or notoriety. But there's a purpose behind the madness.
And much, much more. So please enjoy this episode. We did. I mean, he was a superstar to us, so...
Yeah, and go to heypoopypodcast.com for more information. Kind of like how we are supporting Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month, this month of March, on there, auctioning off our butt prints.
Yes, you can see our asses in full color. Hang them on your wall. That's where it lives now. Your bathroom wall, actually. You can see us while you're doing your thing.
Yes, and on to the shit show. Have you ever let one rip and there was a little extra in your pants? Oh no.
And you only had a sock to help you clean up your mess?
Well, introducing the Original Shark Kit, an all-in-one poopy pants saving first aid kit for the shits.
This kit comes with a fresh pair of underwear, stain remover, sanitizing and butt wipes, anti-diarrhea tablets, a bag for disposal, plus an extra sock.
Don't be caught behind the dumpster cleaning up your mess without the Original Shark Kit.
And for all those Hey Poopy podcast listeners, you get 10% off this butt-saving pack with promo code HeyPoopy.
Go to originalsharkkit.com. Not just a gag gift, but a pants-saving must-have.
That's originalsharkkit.com. Stay away from a stinky situation.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
I'm just, trying to find a place with like-minded people to talk about like-minded things about me, about poop and stuff.
Hey Poopy, how you doing? Hey Poopy, how you doing?
Oh man, what's this right here? Is this a podcast about poop?
Yes, it is. It's a podcast about poop.
And so much more. Hey, everybody, it's the Hey Poopy podcast with
Dave?
and Ellen. And this is episode 157, but it'll always be number 2 to us, our favorite number. And we have probably the biggest guru of toilets in the entire world.
Yes.
Jack Sims, aka Mr. Toilet. The entire World Toilet Organization rides on this man's shoulders as a guest today, and I am so beyond excited. Jack, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Yes.
Talk dirty on your show.
Excellent. We expect nothing less.
And talking about talking dirty, but Jack, before we go into what you do, we'd like to know how you poo. How have you been pooping recently?
It's been always good,
Oh.
2 or 3 times a day. Because when you eat 3 times a day, you don't accumulate it. So after, I don't know, around, depending on what you eat, around 22 hours later, it's processed and ready to download, right?
Yes.
And so if you keep it, if let's say you poop 1 time a day, you are like slightly constipated. So if you miss that one, then the next day you become constipated. And if you miss that one again, you're in big trouble, right? So I think that it's not safe to poop once a day. It's better to do twice or 3 times. But it's also enjoyable, so do it often.
Yeah. I'm a 2 to 3 kind of guy, but although today I've only gone once. I went once today, which is not my normal. My normal is 2 to 3 times a day. So it's been a weird day, I guess.
I've gone 0 times today, and I have no idea what I did to stop myself from going.
We were too excited to talk to Jack. So everything got all backed up. So, that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah.
I think it's important to treat talking about poop as a normal subject, as if you are eating or drinking, because you could talk about eating and drinking all the time, and then you cannot talk about what comes out. I mean, it makes no sense. And then this taboo is rude, but actually it's vanity, because a very wholesome image of ourselves, we're good looking, we dress well, our hairdo is perfect, and then we produce a pungent smell. So we are in a state of denial. We cannot. Or we don't poop, we don't fart, because we are beautiful people. But that's not that because you fart or you poop, you're not a beautiful person. You're just a human being. It's normal.
It's healthy.
Completely.
Yeah, it's digestion, basically, right? So long ago, you cannot talk about leprosy, you cannot talk about, you cannot talk about LGBT, you can't even talk about women's rights, and you can't talk about slavery or Black Lives Matter or even Me Too, you cannot talk about. But once you broke the taboo and you can talk about it, it becomes normal.
Yeah.
Normal. Then you suddenly don't feel the stigma anymore, and it's very strange, okay? Today, people say, hey, this Hey Poopy show is like really bizarre, they're talking about something they shouldn't talk about. No, it's because we are in a state of denial that we ever have a relationship with the toilet. And that's not true. We go there 6 to 8 times a day, and we spend entire 3 years of our life inside the toilet if you add it all up, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of time.
Yeah. So I think it's good that you have such a show. You make it normal. I hope people will slowly open up to it and let go.
Yeah. Well, that's the goal. What we're trying to do.
Yeah, we always say we're trying to remove the stigma from your stinker.
Yes.
Different people take it different ways. So if you were to do it in a very vulgar way, it might piss people off or some people. But if you do it with a lot of information useful to them, I think they will be very, very interested to follow the show. Yeah.
Humor a lot too. We find being funny, as you you're a pretty funny guy. Getting the message through always works better with humor and laughter. So
Yeah. I don't know. American humor tends to be a little bit more stark, and Asian, you cannot say a lot of things, but who cares,
Jack, before we really go into about you, I need to ask, what do you prefer to be called, Jack or Mr. Toilet?
No, either way, it's really no problem. It's almost synonymous. I just went out to talk about toilets when everybody was still constipated in their minds, not to be able to express it. And after a while, the media just call me Mr. Toilet. So I didn't invent that moniker, but the media created Mr. Toilet. Yeah.
yeah, it's like your superhero name,
Yeah.
which you are a superhero to us.
I know. I think out of our 157 episodes, this is the first time I got starstruck. I am so beyond excited. And we've had like pretty big celebrities on this show, like Margaret Cho. And you're the one that I'm like, yay, we have Mr. Toilet.
Well, yeah. Well, following that, for our audience that doesn't know, we know, but for people that don't know, can you give us a little background about who you are, just so we can start, before we start asking some questions, who Mr. Toilet is?
So I was a school failure. And then when you are a school failure, you go and do business because you don't need a degree to do business. And so I made a lot of money doing business in building material construction industry. And then we started to become big bricks manufacturer, clay roof tile manufacturer. I started the Australian International School in Singapore. We built a lot of, there's 16 of them.
Wow.
And by the age of 40, there was a recession in Singapore, in the whole Asia.
Wow.
And there was a recession, and I lost half of all my money. I was feeling very rich when I was 40, so I started business at 24, right? And then I say, hey, actually having half the money is enough to retire. What's the point of continuing doing business? Let's find some purpose in life. So I figure people die around 80. Of course, now they die a little bit more than 80, like 86 or something like that. But the last few years is not quality years. It's usually, walking very slowly and having somebody to change your diapers for you. Or it's not good. So I would say 80 good years would be a really satisfactory journey. And since I'm already 40, I have spent 14,600 days of my quota, and I've got another 14,600 days before I just conk off, right? So how do we spend these days? Because money is no more the currency of life. Time is the currency of life.
100%.
Finish spending, you're dead, right? So I start to look like we have to do something meaningful. And the most important thing is service. So service to humanity, service to society. And then I try to volunteer on distress phone call, anonymous counseling. I try to do conservation heritage. I try a few things. And then I came across toilet. Hey, why is it that nobody's solving this problem? There are 2.5 billion people who don't have toilet, and they are calling it a water agenda. What's going on? It's because when they call it water, they get donation. When they call it poop or shit or toilet, nobody wants to donate any money to them. The donor company says it's incompatible with their brand image, We like green issue, we like blue issue, we don't like brown issue. So I said to myself, all right, since I don't need money, I can work for free and I can do this job, I don't need to fundraise. So I go on to coin this name, World Toilet Organization, with the acronym WTO. And, the whole purpose was to play a pun on the World Trade Organization, which, by the way, was also started in Singapore. The first World Trade Organization meeting was in Singapore. And so I say, let's have a second WTO. And if the first one, World Trade Organization, sue me, then we'll be famous. But they didn't sue me. So we were too busy. So got to use the acronym of W and became the other WTO. And as you know, the World Trade Organization has been stuck in the Doha round for so many years now, while we continue to be quite useful for humanity. So I think that one day I met Pascal Lamy, the chief of the real WTO, and I met him at the World Economic Forum, and he said, I know you are the more popular WTO.
I was about to say, I think yours is a better WTO.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then ever since, the subject has grown very large, and 13 years later, our founding day, 19th of November, became adopted by the United Nations, all 193 countries. They call our founding day the UN World Toilet Day.
Yeah.
Day, World Toilet Day, by telling stories over 13 years. And I think it is a very, very gratifying journey to be able to take a subject that is neglected and then put it on the world stage by telling story through the media, just like what we're doing now, and then to get officialdom. Because in the beginning, people thought I was just a clown, right? They thought this guy is just trying to get famous or something like that, or notoriety. But there's a purpose behind the madness. And eventually, I was very glad it worked. Over the last 20 years, the population of the world increased by 2 billion.
Wow.
From 6 to 8 billion now.
Wow.
And most of this increase in population are in developing countries. As you know, the rich countries, the developed countries, they don't make babies, right? They watch Netflix, so they make babies, right? So what happened is that most of the population increase in the world were poor people. And over the last 20 years, 2.4 billion people have access to toilets and sanitation. So the movement is it's very powerful, and it's also very helpful. And it's not done by me. I'm just the guy who's telling the story to trigger all these politicians to take the subject of toilet as an election agenda so that they can win election promising people toilets. And by talking about it, by driving the demand, people start to realize that they want to have toilet. And once the politician heard about that, they start to use it as election campaign promises. And that's how people get toilet without me going to build so many millions of toilets. It's impossible, right? Mm-hmm. Like Prime Minister Modi built 110 million toilets in India.
Wow.
It's very popular by building toilets, you see. So this is amazing kind of alliance with him. Then we work to help him with his Clean India mission. And then President Xi Jinping in China became the third champion. He started something called China Toilet Revolution, initially to clean up all the tourism toilet, which right now is like surprisingly very, very clean. It used to be so dirty. And now it moved to rural development, and we built rural school, and now rural home has a lot of poor quality toilets, and that's going on. And you can see when world leaders support toilet sanitation, things grow very much.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, that was one of my questions for you was before you got into toilets, and I know you were into building, was there things that you saw in those buildings that triggered toilets for you? Or was it when the recession happened in Singapore and then you started looking, Like what in Singapore and home, have you seen some bad toilets? Like what was the bigger trigger? Because this was in the 90s.
Kind of a lot of experiences, of course. When I was a child, Singapore was very poor. I was born in 1957, and by the time we were independent country by 1965, our GDP was the same as Kenya.
Wow.
In 1965. By the time we are 1995, 30 years later, we have maybe the number 4th highest income per capita in the whole world.
Wow.
So today our per capita income is higher than America, right? So what happened is that I have grown up seeing the transformation from a poor country to a rich country. During my days, we don't have clothing. We get hand-me-downs, right? So sometimes you don't have the right size, you don't have clothing, so you see children running around naked with some intestinal worm wriggling out of their butts.
Oh, God.
We don't have toilets. We have a British bucket system out on the outhouse. We have a standpipe tap in the middle of the village that everybody goes to that same tap. And women will have to shower themselves by wearing sarong wrap around their body in front of everybody to shower, right? So going to the toilets and all these things that developing countries experience, I have experienced myself. And by the time I was 40 years old, I was already very experienced using the toilet for 40 years, right? So everybody is very experienced, right? So it's just that you don't speak up. So when I started to look at why public toilet in Singapore was dirty, I thought it is the design that is wrong. The architecture is wrong. The ergonomic flow of wetting your hands and then soaping and hand washing, then drying. And the dryer is like taking a long time to dry and it's far away from the wash basin and it's usually blocking the entrance or exit door. So people start flicking the hands on the floor and making the floor wet, and then the footstep come and then the whole toilet become very dirty, right? So this is not caused primarily by bad behavior, but by bad design causing bad behavior. And then you see, why is the toilet paper always strewn on the floor? That's because the people try to save money on seat liners, and then people use toilet paper to do and decorate the seat liner.
Yep.
And then when they stand up, then all this paper fall on the floor. So all this kind of thing, a bad design, people don't understand the user. So I started the Restroom Association of Singapore to change that and work with the government. And we clean up all the toilets in the whole Singapore, except the coffee shop toilets. Until today, I try everything, it all works, but the coffee shop toilet, it doesn't work. Because the coffee shop thinks that people would still eat there if the toilet is dirty. And if they were to keep it clean, they will have to spend so much money keeping it clean, and it doesn't make a difference for their business. So right now I'm doing an educational program to name and shame them and to tell people not to eat in places with dirty toilet, because yes, you don't use their toilet, but your cook use their toilet, and your cook cannot wash their hands. And so guess where it wipes it? It wipes it on your food, and you are eating his shit. Go and shit. It's up to you. And then the people get shocked, like, oh my goodness, I better check whether the toilet is clean before I eat. And maybe all Americans should do that also.
Yeah, we're in New York City, and actually restaurants here get a rating of like A, B, C. And if they're like a D rating, the restaurant gets closed down. And so they need to do that to the bathrooms too.
Yeah, that's good, because if you do it only on the food, that doesn't matter. It has to be the whole thing, right?
Yes.
Completely.
So for the toilet, then everybody can enjoy safety, food hygiene. food safety.
Yeah, because
Then
when the
other one-
cooks are not washing their hands properly, you get bacteria and everybody gets sick.
Everybody gets sick. No one wins, and it is a problem.
yeah, and there are also situations where the kitchen is just like in next to the toilet, and all this transmission path go back and forth. So you have to really be very, very careful. So I think there's so many things to talk about toilet in food outlet, in highway stop, in tourism sites, in sports stadiums, in school, in hospital, in offices, in factories, in parks. They are all different in nature. It's not the same design.
Yeah. So in 1996, after you started the Restroom Association in Singapore, what then made it grow into the World Toilet Organization, where you realized it wasn't just at home in Singapore, you had to help the entire world?
Yeah, so when the Singapore one became very popular, a Singaporean, they really love it, and they say, hey, somebody ought to have started this long ago. And so because they are fed up with the dirty toilets, right? So now I can say it's pretty good now. And at the time, I thought, okay, if we do it in Singapore, there must be other toilet associations around the world. So where are they? And I started to research, and I saw that there was a Asia Pacific Toilet Symposium in Japan, in Kitakyushu, near Tokyo. So I say, hey, can I join you? And they say, most welcome. And when I went there, I saw 15 toilet associations around the world. So I asked the Japanese, why don't we start a world body, and you can be the headquarter? And immediately the Japanese say, no, we don't want to be the headquarter. We don't speak English. And why don't you go do it? Because since during this conference, everybody likes you, then why don't you go and do it? So I say, sure, I can do it. And everybody says, we'll join you as long as it's for free. And I say, okay, it's for free. Then I promised them that I will create the World Toilet Summit, and it will be professionally done, and the whole world will join it. And they say, so great. You seems to know that you're going to do it well, right? But actually, I was like making a promise that I then have to deliver later on. And I have no idea how to do it. But since I promised it, I have to make it happen. So I went around looking for sponsors. And of course, when you are new, how could you ever have sponsors? No, people don't even think, what is this? Is it a kind of a joke or something? So I went
especially when it's poop.
Yeah.
So I went to a construction exhibition guy, and I know him, and I say, I want to do this world meeting. I need it to be done for free. That means you give me this whole conference organized with press conferences, with really big venue for free. But in return, I will help you sell exhibition booths. And he says, sounds like a good deal, because I know you're a good salesman. So you go sell exhibition booth for me, and my exhibition become bigger, and I earn the money, and I give you a free conference, because I already have the conference room. It's just empty for the duration of the exhibition.
And this was in Singapore?
Singapore, they do it only on the opening ceremony, and after that, it's empty, right? So we have a synergy, and we went on to invite a government from 15 countries, and our own minister came, and that was a big bang, with all the media writing so much. I was shocked on that first day of 19 November 2001 that we reached out to so many languages, Spanish and in Hindi, Tamil, Japanese, Chinese, Russian, all kind of languages, even French, and all the Associated Press and CNN and even Wired magazine, BBC, everybody start to broadcast about it. I was shocked. And until today, it's now 24 1 year from our founding day, we have never spent a single cent on media. And every year we get about 2.5 billion audience outreach.
Wow.
That's
For budget.
That's congratulations.
And when you were when this was all going on, this was just you, right? Did you have, besides like your friend that was donating the space, it was like a solo venture pretty much. Am I correct?
I don't have any staff for the first 7 years.
Wow.
Because we never fundraise, we are a very poor organization. In terms of my reach, in terms of the media publicity is very, very huge. But we never know how to monetize this, because what we keep on doing is we keep on telling stories. And right now we are still a small organization with some staff, but the impact is just very, very amazing. So there's an American filmmaker called Lily Zepeda.
Yes, we had her on the show. She was fantastic.
Yeah. So she's kind of like just realized I exist, and the moment we have our first call, she decided to quit her job and to make this movie called Mr. Toilet, the world #2 man.
Yeah, we loved it. One of my favorite movies.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And they spent 6 years. She spent 6 years doing this one thing, I just feel so appreciative, because when there's a person who believes in your story and spend 6 years making it, and she also don't know if she can survive, because it takes $600,000 to make that documentary in Singapore, China, India, and in LA. And she survived and she made it, and it went to, I don't know, like 15 film festival. Yeah.
Well, that leads into my question, actually. I wanted to find out, after the film was released and, the positive feedback, did the WTO see any kind of like uptick in membership, or not necessarily donations, but where people were more interested in helping you doing what you do?
Lots of people, after they watch the film, they feel very touched, because the film is a authentic film. It doesn't say this guy is successful all the time. It says all the shit that happened. My entire board left because we ran out of money. They don't do fundraising. They asked me to write checks. I say, no, I'm not going to write checks. I'm going to make it frugal. And then they all left, right? So after that, it was not about money. It's just about like, why does my friends give up so easily, right? Then I felt really sad. And most of the time, I draw my strength from my wife. She's taking care of all the family, the 4 kids, and I'm always away, And I'm so lucky. I have a very good wife. And, it's like a bedrock, right? So you can do anything. The foundation is always strong, so it's pretty good.
That's good. Yeah, we loved your wife and the kids in the movie.
Yeah, that was a sweet moment. I loved all that. The family dynamic was great.
And from the film, it also seemed like you've taken on a huge responsibility with the World Trade Toilet. Sorry, oh my God, I almost said World Trade Organization. And what can you tell our audience how to help with your mission? Is it something that needs to be more told? It sounds like you're more involved with the governments and trying to help them to get voted in, because they realize that healthy toilets helps them to get voted in. But what does an individual like me and Dave and our audience do to help?
Like right now you're helping because you're sending the message to all the people that are listening in. And really, as long as you are serious about helping and not just like a lot of people say, I want to help. And then the moment we say, let's start to work, they say, I'm so busy, right? So don't come if you're like that, right? But if you genuinely feeling calling, in this case, it's a call of nature, then you please volunteer with us. And whatever is your talent, it really does not matter, because we'll find something for you. Because I'll tell you the amount of things that are in our pipeline. We're creating a symphony in P minor, a new musical note, right? It's not the P note. Right?
Or we like to call it the brown sound.
Yeah.
And so I'm working with the Singapore Symphony Orchestra to create this music, because classical music is one channel, right? So if we can fundraise to create this, that will be something concrete, and I hope that one day we can play it at the Carnegie Hall with Boston Philharmonic and
A New York Philharmonic.
Love that.
That'd be amazing.
because I was just thinking the typewriter concerto, a typewriter can become a musical instrument. Why not a toilet, right? So I'm now working to craft this, to make it together.
I need to be there to see
Yeah, I
this.
want to see this. I want to hear this. I love this.
Bizarre and wild and bold things. So I'm also looking for a partner to create comics and cartoons, so that toilet story can become like SpongeBob SquarePants and make a cartoon series out of it. I've written a lot of stories about it, ready to roll. So if anybody know Nickelodeon or whatever, give me the contact and we can start talking. So there's no limit, right? You can go on the technological thing. You can talk about tourism, toilet. You can improve school toilet. You can improve these transport workers. They got a huge problem because the female transport worker says that there is no female toilets. It's always go to a male toilet. And imagine a woman trucker. They don't have female toilets. All toilets are male toilets. And so conductors and all these things. So they also have a big problem. International Transport Federation, we talk to them. So we can work with everything, because there is no subject that that is unrelated to toilet. If you are in marketing, if you are in communication, if you are in product design, if you are in healthcare technology, or even to make our website so much better, anything, as long as you love this to help, join us. And what you will learn is how to change the world with very little resources. And of course, you want to donate money, you're most welcome. We don't have a fundraising department, so we don't know how to raise funds. 1 year's fund, yeah. We've got naturally a lot of people who wants to help. And it's not big money, but they help, and it's enough.
Jack, it seems like you do a lot in India, and you've met with other people. I mean, and the World Toilet Organization is the whole planet, but we live in the United States, and a lot of people here don't realize that there are places in our country that have no proper toilets. And 60 Minutes actually did this brilliant piece a couple months ago in Alabama. They have a thing called a straight pipe, which these people's homes literally have just a pipe that goes out from their toilet and just dumps their waste into their own backyards. And I was wondering if you heard about it.
Yeah, it's very shocking that a country like America, which, by the way, can just simply print US dollar to do whatever they want, does not print US dollar to build infrastructure.
Yeah, I mean,
you print US dollar and now you owe $26 trillion or something like that. That's a debt. You can simply print another $10 trillion and solve every toilet problem in America, right?
Yeah.
So you have homeless people. When I was in Hollywood, Lily drove me just by Skid Row, and it's like, a third world country,
Yes, completely.
And I can't believe it. Like, why is America having the ability to print money without having to do anything? You just print and people will take it as valid, right? And you don't want to spend on simple things like toilets, homelessness,
Oh,
weapons. I mean, I go to the New York subway, and that is like the most broken subway in the world I have ever.
Oh, yeah.
You go to any country. I went to Moscow subway. It looks like a museum. It's so beautiful. They have all these ornate sculptures in every station. It's like the most beautiful subway you can find in the world, right? Then you go to China, bullet trains everywhere. And then you go to a lot of countries, you go to India, their airports are all beautiful, and Indonesia. And then you go to America and you see John F. Kennedy Airport, so crowded. And then I don't understand. So I think if we can get one of your politicians to become a toilet champion like Prime Minister Modi of India, presidency of China, or even Brazil, we have a governor of Sao Paulo who is the toilet champion. And last year, we helped Brazil change the law to allow foreign investment into their water treatment plant, and $13 billion of investment went in after they passed the law. So I went to Brasilia to do lobbying at the Senate, helping the local NGOs to convince the government to pass this bill. So after I lobbied them successfully, they wrote the bill, and 2 months later, they launched it at the World Toilet Summit in Sao Paulo in Brazil. And 7 months later, the bill got passed, and now they got 13 billion investment.
Wow.
13 billion US dollar investment in water treatment, in sewage treatment. So I think that a lot of things can be done. Who is the politician who is interested in toilet in America? Name him.
Or her name.
Nobody.
Or their name. Yeah.
Nobody.
It doesn't exist.
It's a mess here right now. I mean, most people can see it on the world. I almost said world toilet, the world stage. But yeah, we've been having the same discussions about that kind of stuff: infrastructure, homelessness.
City, we have no public toilets.
Or they're all closed. If we even have the few that we have are all closed because due to COVID. But
yeah,
it's a complete mess. You pay all this money in taxes in this country anyway, and you see nothing for it.
Yeah.
It's mostly
except for a bigger, stronger army. That's it.
I was in London and I was shown by the Westminster City Council manager, which takes care of the whole of London. And he just drove me to Back Street, and people are urinating and shitting at the back street. And I say, why? She says, at night, when all the pubs are closed, continue drinking, that's where they're doing it. And it's you can see everything there. It's terrible. And I can't understand.
Yeah, these are extremely rich cities. London has plenty of money. New York has plenty of money. It should not be happening.
They don't have, they say they don't have money. They close down their public toilets so fast. And now the public toilet is called McDonald's.
Yeah. Or here at Starbucks,
or just a random coffee shop.
Yeah.
There's no actual true public waterworks area where you can go to the bathroom and just have a decent shit.
I actually a couple months ago saw a public toilet, an outdoor public toilet in Brooklyn near the park. And you know what was right next to it? A porta potty. Because the public toilet was broken. They put and I'm like, fix the public toilet. There's no point in having a porta potty right there.
Yeah.
Maybe you can convert into a business.
Yes.
And just take over the real estate and do it privatized. Governments are useless for this stuff. Politician, who would it be nearest to it?
I don't even know. To be honest with you, it's such a good question because right now what's going on in our country, there's so much infighting and just the whole there's only like really two parties, and they're so busy trying to pass all these agendas that there's no one's talking about like actual real issues. A lot of chest pounding and my thing is bigger than your thing. It's kind of a mess, and there's no one talking about any actual issues that deal with Americans here that are going through it. especially in poor rural areas of the country. But I mean, there's places, we live in New York. New York State has plenty of places where if you go there, it looks like a third world country.
Yep.
So it's a mess, and it's embarrassing. It's also just sad.
Yeah. I just wanted to understand your take on it, because it sounds like Singapore turned its country around from being a poor country to a rich country in 30 years. And the United States is considered a rich country, but we're still living like a poor country. So, yeah.
I didn't understand why.
Yeah.
I mean, you can simply print money. I mean, look at COVID. How many trillions of dollars did you print during this time?
Exactly.
And when you can print money for COVID, you can print money for toilets, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, on paper, all this is very logical. But for some reason, when it gets out past the, an idea, nothing gets done.
Because it's really everybody's problem.
I think a lot of people in this country, especially to your point about the subway system here and like how dirty or broken down it is. It's like the idea is always like someone else will fix it. Not me, but someone else will deal with it.
Yeah.
And of New York City, of course, right? Because that's what's his job. Because I was standing there in the station in New York, and then the rain was outside, and then the rain started pouring into the trees.
It's a big problem. I mean, our subway system is so old, but it hasn't been updated at all. Like the updates that it's like putting a Band-Aid onto a stab wound or a gun wound. There's no actual but.
Do you have any more questions, Dave? I have one more.
I had a couple, but Jack kind of answered. I mean, actually, the one I was going to ask you about was if you thought of an idea for a TV show, which I thought was fantastic.
The cartoon.
I would love to see. I mean, we have some award-winning cartoons we've made based off the interviews we do with people on this show. And
I'll send them. I'll email them to you.
Give me all the talented people in New York. You know, New York is like arts place, right? I would love that sculptor, artists, graffiti guys, cartoonists, musicians. You know, I did rap music on toilet. You can go and Google for this guy, Saykozi, Saykozi. He's an Indonesian rapper, and Saykozi, the music is called Talk Shit. You can play a part of it.
Talk about it, yeah. It's gonna be the only song you hear me talk about. Yeah, man, without a toilet, Muji can select that, hey. About 2 billion people lives like that anyway. They squat, do them business, that's it, man. La mer, tawa goto, excrement. Shit goes down in the water, man. People use that. That means disease about to happen, man. That's too bad. I'm not trying to disgust nobody, but y'all must know. Cause in life, when you got to go, you got to go. Told my homies, yo, we gonna make it hit, huh?
He's a good rapper.
Amazing.
Jack, one other thing that I noticed from your documentary, and that we have noticed at Hey Poopy for 3 years, is that the best way to get the message out about poop is using humor. And you are very funny in the documentary. You've been funny here on this interview. But I wanted to know what your influence is. What makes you laugh? What is your influences to make you laugh?
The first thing to be able to tell jokes is to be able to laugh at yourself, right? If you don't take yourself so seriously, then you can go out to use humor, because people are going to say things about you. They're going to laugh at you, and you are going to say, as long as I got their attention, then that is success, right? So sometimes people might say things, and initially I didn't thought, hey, why is this guy like that? But I was told by my mentor, I have a mentor, he's called Mr. Condom.
Which don't flush Mr. Condom into Mr. Toilet, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He's much older than me. He's from Thailand. His name is Mechai, Mechai. And he taught me, if you make them laugh, they'll listen to you. And if you don't worry about yourself, you'll succeed. So this is the thing. And I'll say that over the last 21 years, it's very rare that people objected to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't hear that. I would say you hear things like, is this serious? Is it a clown or all that? And there was one time I was giving a dinner talk, and I'm a paid professional speaker. So they pay me $10,000 and fly me to Australia. And I was giving this talk. And the people in the audience said to me that at first they thought that the association is an association dinner, that the association has employed a comedian. And then as they start to listen, it sounds serious. So they went to their cell phone and searched for World Toilet Organization, and they were shocked that this is real. So it's very impressive because on one hand, you are telling jokes. On the other hand, it's very serious. And with this blend of humor and serious facts, then let it all out, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's great. Well,
So what you're saying is you make yourself laugh.
Yeah, you laugh at yourself.
Yeah.
And if you are able to kind of make yourself not so important, then everything is so much easier. You know?
Become human. You become like your.
Yeah. If you go out there to try to put up a false front, to look always strong, always correct, never wrong, it's very stressful life. Don't do that. You know, shit happens sometimes.
we know that.
Jack, we also always ask our guests, do you put the toilet paper on the roll over or under?
I think it's over. Easier to find it, but I think under is good. It saves a little bit more paper. But now we know if we design the hole in the center, not as a round, but as a square hole, then you will prevent all the paper running off very, very quickly.
Very smart. Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
I hope somebody listening in start to take the idea and go make it, because you can also make it into a triangular hole.
You need a sharp corner.
Yeah. Use less paper.
Maybe make it pentagon and get, military supplies contract and get a lot of money out.
I mean, hey, whatever brings awareness, correct?
I love that.
That's so funny. I was
The
thinking
prices are always like 1,000 times higher than normal prices because there's too much corruption behind it.
Yep.
Yeah. Jack, you said so many amazing things, but I want to ask you, we have this little segment called Shitty Choices. It's just a little game we like to play with our guests.
Shitty choices.
The first one, you can never speak again, like never talk, never say a word, or whenever you speak, you poop your pants. So you got to choose no speaking then.
There's so many ways to send messages out through visuals, through text, so it's not a problem. In fact,
Just write it down.
yeah, I work with blind people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm so amazed the way they get around the city by themselves with a stick. And they're so alert because they lost their sense of sight. And suddenly all other senses became very alive. So I created the Dialogue in the Dark Museum in Singapore, where you walk 1 hour in the dark and you are guided by a blind guy. They are so amazing, and you are blind, and they are sighted in the dark. Oh, so amazing!
Oh, that experience that.
Yeah.
Well,
What about you, Dave? What are you choosing?
That's a good one. I thought about this, and I was gonna go with I would shit my pants every time I talk, but I'm backing off on that because it was just too much mess. So I'm gonna go with never speak again, because, like Jack said, there's plenty of ways now to communicate. So. And then if I really need to say something, I could just yell it out at home and then deal with the mess at home.
Get some diapers.
I could talk to my wife and I'll just clean myself up in the bathroom.
I think I would go with the talking and pooping my pants and wearing lots of diapers.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, there's
Nobody will be my friend anymore because I'll stink, but whatever.
I mean, look, there's no wrong answers in shitty choices. There's just your choice.
They're both wrong answers.
Yeah, right.
All wrong answers.
Completely, but fun. And on that note, I wanted to do a news story, but it was a little more depressing, and I want to keep this a little bit more upbeat because I feel like this is like a really positive interview, and we're really excited to have you on here. So I think we should leave it with that. And a humongous thank you, Jack, for just being on the show with us. You were so delightful, enlightening, and thank you for all the work you're doing for the world, basically. And I really hope to meet you someday in person and really just talk about what we can do to help.
You're most definitely one of my heroes, and thank you so, so much. I just absolutely adore everything you're doing.
Yeah. Thanks very much. And you can put my email out, jacksim@worldtoilet.org. And anybody who wants to contact me can just email me.
And I think we follow you on your social medias, which we'll put them in the show notes. And
yeah, we'll put all the contact, how to get in contact. Obviously your email, but also like information about World Toilet Day, WTO and such. So,
and if somebody really want to change all the shitty situation in America, please also contact me. I'm sure that there are some association around, like there's one called Flash.
Yep.
Yeah, near Seattle. Was it?
Flush, yeah.
Yeah, Flush.
Yeah, Kim.
One state above Seattle. What's that called?
Oh, I don't know where the one in Seattle is.
Yeah, I don't know.
So yeah. So I think people like that are working very hard, but it's not like whole America, right?
Yes.
If you cannot find a politician, then find me a comedian.
Yes.
Because it's the same.
True. That's a good point.
Very true.
And we can work with some celebrities, maybe a singer or a movie star, and then we can work with them.
Yes.
Okay.
We have to solve the problem in America finally.
Yes.
That's a good start. I mean, there's a lot of problems, but yes, that would be great.
We at Hey Poopy Podcast are going to do everything in our power to help you by putting the word out there.
Thanks, Jack, again for being on the show. Thanks to our listeners for laughing and learning everything but with us.
And happy pooping, everybody, and enjoy your butthole.
For more info, go to heypoopypodcast.com or email us at heypoopypodcast@gmail.com. You can send in show ideas, guest requests. Check us out on Twitter at heypoopy, Instagram at heypoopypodcast, TikTok, Hey Poopy Podcast, and our awesome new Facebook fan page. Go check it out at Hey Poopy Podcast. We're also on Discord at Hey Poopy Dumps, or you can contact us at our new awesome hotline, 203-998-5579.
Hey Poopy Podcast is brought to you by Perfect for Entertainment. Produced by Dave and Ellen. Edited by Dave. Executive producer Stormy Leather. Theme song by Jordan Perlson. Hey Poopy!